Ready, steady, off we go. So, hi everyone, my name is Ina. I'm an events coordinator at Live 99. And tonight we're going to talk about brand images for startups and small businesses with Lera, founder of Orchidea Agency. And she's also our Cave Hub community member. We have a Q&A session in the end. So if you have any questions during the event, please write them below the video. Wherever you're watching us on Facebook or on YouTube, we will cover them all. Now I'm passing the microphone to Lera and hope you all enjoy it.
Hi, everyone. Today I tell you about the branding for startups and small businesses. I will share with you my practice and experience. So they're going to be full of some stories and fun examples. This will tell you about Orchidea Studio, where I'm founder and art director. We are focused on branded design and working with sustainable brands that care about people and planet. Also, we consult about design strategy and support visually attractive brands. And let's start with the main question: why do we all need a brand image or branding? First of all, branding helps you to build a long-term relationship with the current users, but also it attracts more attention for new users. Also, more reliance from venture capitalist companies, and one of my favorite thing that it's easier decision-making tool in everyday life. But the truth is that everyone wants a brand. Really cool brand, great brand, but the world is full of it, and every day is harder and harder to differ. The internet makes us closer, and in the same way we start to conquer to the whole world. For example, 5-10 years ago, each brand conquered with brands who was nearby. The country, in your city, but right now we get into the internet and everything starts to differ is more harder. But still, some of the brands are the great and some of them are on the top. As Nassim Taleb say that all the great can be reached by pure luck, but maybe there's some tricks. And the first thing that I want to tell about is how not to be just ordinary and become extraordinary. This little part that differ from ordinary brands to some special brands. First of all, you should create and build your brand's personality. Through the whole human history, people are accustomed to the myths. The ability to create imaginary stories gives us opportunity to work with strangers and inspire the mass to believe in your ideas. You can come to a tribe, for example, and tell the story about the tiger that is near your village. And everyone will believe you because this is our ability to keep in your mind some stories. This is phrase and example from the Sapiens, and one of the things that a main condition of the story, it should be realistic. But how to and story, if we match and if we compare the brand like a movie character, it will help us to transfer the idea of some imaginary story and person who attracts to people. Good character always has a goal of his life. Lots of businesses right now work just to earn the money. It's a shameful among the millennials and Z generation social groups. And to hook them, some companies try to flirt and create some social mission. But such things, people feel this fake and they just skip it and never come back to such artificial companies. And another thing that this good social mission should go from your heart and from your from the social context right now. And a good character will never do something if he or she does not believe in it. Do you remember the Joker or the Simba? They never betray their values. In summary, do not make fake manifestos or stories that even you don't believe in. People around detect the false. For example, sometimes founders or business owners come to us and ask to create some social mission to people, for their team to believe and to match everyone, to transfer it to the audience. But still, if it's written in the paper, it will not work at all, and nobody will believe in it without the passion of the founder who transfer it to each person. One of my favorite examples is a Billy. Billy is a new brand of new generation. And this is the first brand company among the boring male-dominated shaving category. I will show you right now their website, and it's very bright, it's very weird little bit. And one of the main things that why they are so cool is because their social mission is based on the they create they have a social mission to girls and even boys not to shave each part of their body, and they try to killed this trends of the previous years of the Gillette or some other shaving companies not to have a silky legs or silky underarms. Just do whatever you want. And this is brand, they are colorful, they have special strange logo, their product even in some way not as usual. And one of the things that such companies get more investments, and for example, the Billy several months ago get 25 millions raised, 25 millions in Series A round. And today, Billy progressing faster than expected, and brand met its 12 months goal in 4 months. So Billy, quite cool. And the big idea that we see in the Billy, that through the whole brand, we see that they projected this idea of you could be and shave whatever you want, body positive, and your big idea should transfer everywhere through the product, through the marketing, through the design, and through the voice. So each time when you come to the designers, don't ask them to make a design without some steady and one huge idea that should be in your mind as of a founder. Another chapter. Good character cannot jump from side to side, like from a light side to the dark side. You should go directly in one to the one goal and don't jump in. For example, Harry or Luke will never betray their values, and they never say something that is not based on their minds. So the brands have the same thing. You can't go to them take part of the competition or some festival that is not connected to your manifestos. And I think to destroy a business, you do not need a million fatal bonds. A dozen inconsistencies or rash acts are enough. The harm from the little things growing exponentially. It's a phrase from a book about business that's called Business for Punks, about the author is James Watt. He's a founder of Brewdog. I really advise you this book to read because there are so many little tips how to be punks and how to be punk businessman. I appreciate them because they created they doesn't create communication strategy. They try to keep together with the world and created some actions that is connected to their values. And one of them, they took for rent a tank and stick logo there everywhere and create a manifestation near the bank in the streets of the London. Another actions was like they ask the like Lilliputs, ask them to stay near the parliament to evoke and to kill the mass market bee and to give the opportunity to make the beers in pins in the smaller sizes than parliament give opportunity to make. And the summary, brand is a set of actions that is based on your values. Everyone in the team should know what you are standing for. And if everyone in team know about your values, they will transfer it to the people. Next, good character always has imperfections. If something looks wrong or has the wrong location, is no doubt eye-catching. Something that is a little bit tricky or something that is a little bit weird, it's more interesting to people. For example, Kim. In era of slim models, her shapes and her body looks really strange at that time. But then this small detail become a more like a dominant and like adventure and become a new trend. The real characters has flaws and habits. The more pros and cons a brand has, the more it's loved and hated at the same time. As a breed dogs, they also have some pros and cons. They are cool for some audience and they are hated by the mass market beer. They have many troubles with the founders of the big factors of beer, and many of people just deny them. And better to have a fan base than to be neutral to everyone. So even if when you come to a designers and ask them to create design for everyone, it's a mistake, because even if you call the audience like the millennials or generation Z, it's also a mistake, because everyone has their appreciations. In each group they have some differ in likes, and so you should find your audience by the choices, by the tastes, and it will help you to minimize and get directly to your audience. And also another thing, that ugliness can be a new standard of beauty. Sometimes, for example, you remember how everyone's make memes and jokes from the iPhone 11 with the third camera. But just in case you create true crazy things, then it's become common and everyone accustomed to it. So, and another story that even tower, Parisian Eiffel Tower, it didn't like to the citizens, and they tried to like killed it, but then it's become some special things of the whole town. So what defines an extraordinary brand? First of all, the reflectance of the social culture. Think about the problems of tomorrow's humans, because if you just think about today's and design will you will create design, and then in future in 1 year it's implemented and it's gonna be not up to date. So think about trends, think about future, and of course from the point of today, but still don't use things that already passed. Another thing is bright and unique appearance. Don't follow the category rules, act like nobody before. For example, sometimes when brands try to new brand try to get into some category, for example water, and they try to follow some rules and like category colors, accustomed fonts, and when they get to the market, is they similar to them to others, and they just don't ruin the rules of the category, and they're just ordinary. And last one, when you have this social mission, reflections of social culture, when you have a bright, unique appearance, you could get one direction through the all channels, or no, not even all channels, just choose what you need, especially for small brands. It's better to use several channels and act and speak just from one point of view. And one of my big advice is don't try to fit, try to make something that is unusual, crazy, and it's be featured. You will feel it that if you make something that really liked by people, and it's sometimes just unusual and interesting things. Big changes, big risks. One of the problem that when the brands try to attract new audience, brands not so often looks good, and brand appearance needs a change, but you worried about what the loyal audience will say and how they accept your brand, your changes. But still, most of the brands try to changes and change and don't look back when. So when you need to changes. One of the main things that changes inside your team, when you have it, when you got a new approach, when you got different new forces and new team you collect, then you need the new fresh appearance to inspire everyone who is inside. And the second thing, when the world has changed and you remain as 5 years ago. Today it's hard to hear real critics, it's true. Everyone just like to put their likes and give you a good comments. Nobody will tell you that you look old-fashioned. But inside, if you feel like a founder, you feel that something is moving further, but you are still the same, do it. Do if even just little hesitation in your mind. And one of the good example is a mirror. In the past, it was real-time board, and it was like a whiteboard, but online. And they change everything, even naming. The company is really scared to change the namings. They get to it and never give back, and and the mirror, one of the companies that change from head to toes. You see how it looked, because in previous time mirror was more old schoolish and a little bit dull, but still, like a founder says that they're the first in the first round, their strategy in the first 5 years maybe, their strategy was to create a like industry, to create a category, because nobody didn't use such a tool, and they just create real-time board, like strict direct naming. And then right now they feel that millions of people who use the mirror, they like it, and they ready to something new and to be more pleasant, funny, and short. And today the company announced 50 millions of investments. It was just announced several days ago. But be careful with the app and web platform, where changes should be implemented step by step, not to shock the audience. For example, in a graphic design and in the branding, you could create it make a grand opening with a new branding, and it's gonna be a good communication act. Everyone will see it and start talking about. For example, the one of the last rebranding was OLX, and it's nice. It has funny logo, little bit weird, and in the same time catchy. They have interesting font for their identity. Of course, they don't use it in the website, but still, in the website, they, I think, and we discussed it with my team, that they a little bit spoiled the platform. The decision that they make in UX not perfect, and not so good working like in the previous old design. It's become clear, it's become nice, but something, for example, the cities, it don't need when you already choose your location. So brand must be able to respond to the latest consumer trends and demand in order to grow and flourish. It's one of the great moving brands. It's a creative agency. They say about brands. And the one thing that brands must be always up to date, but not trendy. From scratch to launch, minimum half of the year, and sometimes even more. But and ideas that were approved, for example, last year, could be today, when it's implemented, become more like everywhere. It's happened because designers rubbed the elbows in and then unexpectedly gave the same result in the different parts of the world. So it can be, but still the fresh looking and fresh appearance is much more better than old one. And my advice, keep an eye on designers, and if you have one big idea, you are like a founder, understand what should be in your communication, then some trendy colors or trendy fonts will never spoil your general look. So don't worry about it. One of the things, just ask designers whether it's trendy or not. And I know that in 100% they will know in what they gradually, is it trendy or not. So Just ask them. And now some tips from designers, design tips from designers is just about some colors, fonts, content, and other things like how to hire designers. And first of the question is how to hire the design team. You probably already have the experience, but my team's advice is to search design team in the internet and don't ask friends. You could ask them, but then check who is with whom you are going to work. Because I have so many times when clients come say that, oh, you were advised and I want to work with you. But then happened that they didn't look at my portfolio. They even don't know how to, they don't know my taste. And then after approving the design, they see that I feel that they don't like it at all. And they also don't like it. They try to ask for more variants, but in the same time, everything goes awful. And one of the first things that you should look is the portfolio, and look at the general view, and look at the all the works. Because if some works are a little bit worth, then and other works are better, so the like their level, try to feel this general look of their portfolio, because there could be some junior designers or some they or good designers or junior designers who make some works. And if you like really their portfolio, you could write them. And when you write, feel and see who is respond to inquiry. If it's manager with official tone of voice, keep it. You don't need to work with such companies. It's more about the big agencies. You need like a little company, like a startup or a business, small business. You should try to find a person who is will be in charge of your the final result. And third thing is the motivation. Feel how they respond, how they need just the money. If they respond very quickly, then they need clients. If they respond too long, so they're busy with some other other projects. And try to feel and motivated the designers with some idea of your company. If you fall in love in it and you want to, you just need to inspire designers, them to believe in your idea. And design teams can be experienced, adult, and very talented. They could make for you design in just several weeks and everything gonna be ready. But choose who is really highly motivated to work with you and with your brand. Because if you're not like connected with the one mood and one ideas, then after work will be some regrets of the designers and of the clients that something goes wrong, and it's better to choose the people who is very similar to your taste. Contract and arrangements. Design very subjective, and sometimes you sign up the contract, but nobody will never look at it one more time. So discuss it in a word, so write down everything in the some documents just with you in the chat. What if? the question what if will help you. What if you don't like all logo at all? What if all the elements look awful? What if the identity is not what you want? Or what if the designers work more than they should be? What happened? Of course, these good design teams will write you about it and tell everything, but keep in mind that even with highly experienced companies could be some troubles. Involvement. Give the freedom to designers and design team, but be involved, be interested, and be open to something new. Give the feedback quickly and true feedback. Don't say that you like it and then wrote that please change everything. Don't be like too bad policeman and write just bad feedback. Try to explain and explain better by text, not by words, by like out loud. Write everything to, because most of the designers they are don't speak much to people. They are not extroverts, they're introverts, and they better to understand when everything is write down. And we switch to the design. What does the design system consist of? Sometimes clients come and ask about logo, color and font, but it's not enough for identity. It's just a little part because the right brand identity, the components, for example, imagine the recipe and how you cooked some dish. You have the list of elements and there's written that how much of each ingredient you should to put inside. So the design is the same things. If you messed up and use too much red color, it's become more about kills and crimes. If you use too much black color, it's become techno and dark side mood. So your identity is a combination of different elements. And now I will tell you little tips about logo, about color, about every piece of these ingredients of your best brand dish. So sometimes logotype clients spend too much attention to the logo and ask to make it so creative, crazy, and very beautiful. But to spend too much time to the logo is wasting of time, because logo is just little trigger that like a mention of your company, and it's staying in your user pick and somewhere in the up or down of the format. Still, there are some variants when the logo is too big and extended to all the items. The second thing of the logo that you should remember, how it looks at the social media, especially at the user pick in the small sizes. I have the problems with one of the logo, like public kitchen, if you remember from portfolio, and there was too thin. It was so beautiful, but in the user pick it looks really small and become pixelizing. So one of the new things of the for small brands, for startups, is how you look at the digital. And especially it's not just about social media, it's also about the website, because sometimes the logo is also too small at the website. And if you created the logo and spend too much time to create it and look at it at the screen, especially designers show you at the laptops, at MacBooks, and with a really clean surface in the one color, for example, black, and it looks beautiful. But you should know that you should try this logo in a different variations, and also how to use it, how to put it in all the things that you're going to brand it. And one of the another thing that always happened to me, all the clients asks what to do if I find similar logo in the internet, and sometimes they find it just several times, but it was not so similar. It was like, for me, it was really two sides of extremes, too different, but they feel that something looks similar. And what I can tell you as this presentation starts, I tell that our world become closer, and all the brands become conquered to each other from the whole planet. So if even somebody have the same name, don't worry about it. You have different audiences, you have different industries, and you are completely different with the mood. Of course, if you in one industry, you should worry about if you similar to your the company that just staying near you. So don't worry about it. Color. About color combination, already I mentioned that if you choose some colors, you should know how to combine them. And you see the example, yes. In the one of our projects, we use yellow, red, black, white colors, and we show in the brand book how to use them and combine, and show how not to use. And especially sometimes in the brand books, designers show some crazy variants that with the colors that I think will nobody use. No designer will not use some green, for example, color. If there is no in brand book green color, why designer should use it? Of course, in brand book should be some things that could be like tricky things that could be messed up. And one of the things, not to use a red and a black color with a red combination, because it looks like some poster for the crime detective story. This is a brand about hot dogs, and of course it should be tasteful, so no blood colors. Another thing, you can have different colors in digital and printing mediums, and it's okay, because printing colors more dull, more dark, is because we don't have such opportunity like RGB, we don't have opportunity like our screen devices, and it's okay. It's okay if a little bit different, and even if not elite, even if this difference much, it's also okay. If you print much, if you right now, I don't know who gonna be to use printing in era of digital devices, but still also look at the paper. Some design papers have little amount of the variety. So also if you print too much based the color on the paper. Typography. Fonts make a voice of the brand. When people see the text, they unconsciously match the font style with the meaning of the message. Of course, it is the task of designers to match the voice of the brand and the type that will be better looks with your brand. But you should understand also that at the time when you choose the font is already should be chosen direction of your brand voice. So don't come and make design without your understanding of how you're going to communicate in the text. Other advice, just name of the typeface will never do the style. So if you remember, sometimes designers show you in the brand book the letters and the whole alphabet of the chosen font. And I think that it's don't help you at all to understand how to use it and why you choose this font. Because the real feeling of the typography just in use, in a combination and in so the same font you could use in different sizes, in different compositions, with a different parts of free space. Different thickness, could be bold, it could be thin, it could be condensed. So the same font could be looks really different, even if you choose one, use some colors, it will be different mood will convey to you. So ask designers to show as many variants of the implementation of the type of the font into the whole system of the design, and you will see, and it will be a better things for the future creatives who will work with this brand in the future. Other advice, app font can be different from the headlines of the identity. For example, you see the OLX, they choose one weird, interesting typeface for the branding, and then in the app and in the web platform, they use more plain, more from Google Material Design, for example. And I advise you, like, if you have a very small brand, better to use some already created things, like a Google Material Design and good fonts from Google that is free, to use them, than to try to create something like new bicycle to create. Better to use something that already created with somebody, but it's going to be an ordinary brand. If you talk about extraordinary brand, of course, you must make everything unique from head to toe. And please buy fonts. It's not so expensive, but fonts really created the tone of voice of your brand. Content. Unique content is expensive, but it's worth it. Choose professionals who already work at high level. Some content expensive because you can't get to the first step. If in the identity of the design, you could just adjust something. Sometimes when you created video or photos, after you get the product, when you got the photos, you can't come back. So I advise you just to already, like with the hiring team, go through the portfolio and see if something looks not really cool. So in 50% or 60%, it could be with you. Be careful. You could use ready sets of the illustration photos in the Shutterstock or somewhere. It's become more great variety, and even in the Shutterstock is more some photos that looks better because photographers create better content than in previous time. But still, you know that you're gonna be like ordinary brand, not extra. With the content, people faces and some characters will attract more than just still eyes. For example, just stain coffee or glass of water will not so catchy like a face appearance. Advice about text. Text should be not friendly and not plain, but your own. So many companies and everyone want to be like a Google, like an Apple, that everyone want to be friendly. Friendly is one main like brief for the creating a tone of voice. We want to be friendly. But to be friendly, okay, if everyone become friendly, so everyone becomes boring. Be special, be little bit sarcastic, be little bit create some crazy jokes, and people appreciate it. A combination of all design parts creates a good looking image. If you start to break your rules of your own system, you can confuse the general impression. It's the same thing like strategy about the praise of the brew dog, James Watt. If you created some system inside, you should follow it. You could break the rules a little bit, but it should be totally due to some very important reasons. Elements. After you creating the brand identity concept, you get to the all the elements, and sometimes clients come and give them list of very boring elements like business cards, documentation, and so on. You know this. You could just type in the internet and find this what should be inside the brand guidebook. So don't do it. It's just wasting of time and your money. First of all, create a customer journey. If you created a startup, of course, you already do it. But you already did it. But I talk about more about to sit with designers or to discuss with them and go through the all points of your customer, how they act, what they do, and in this like meeting, you could come with the cool ideas. For example, a few days ago, I have a meeting with my client who got a dentist clinic. And we discussed that her customers are the little kids. They, when they come each time, they got some little present. It could be pens, pencils, notepads, and so on. And we discuss whether we need to brand it, whether we need to stick a logo to each of the element and go with it. It's gonna be so boring. We discuss it and then we started to create it. What can we do? I offer to make some stickers, and my clients say, okay, I have some, I say that it could be some map and stickers with our character that called Zubaki. Zubaki is like a teeth. They jump everywhere, they're colorful and they smiling or they sad. And we could make a map and each time when the kid come, the doctor give the sticker. She catches this idea and add with some dentist things that could be implemented inside. So if at the very beginning of our creating of the whole branding, she will never mention such a things that she mentioned when we discuss the ideas and strictly to this element and strictly to this point when the audience come and go with something. So I really advise, because the designers also hate to make this list of elements that is boring and make us crazy. If your design team doesn't make the content, doesn't make the illustrations, photographs, videos, and so on. So they created just, for example, identity and website. For the website, there should be some content into all the boxes and some text. And when the design is already, the concept is already approved, there has become a great gap between implementation of the content and real final result. And as quickly you give all the information, all the texts, all the photos, everything, as quickly your design team will be involved in your project and give everything to you with a good mood. I tell about, because it's really a hard period of time, because everyone is already exhausted from the project, because it's already maybe the third, fourth, ninth month of creating of design, and sometimes in small businesses, everything based and depend on the founder. Founder creates text, founder creates images, or so on. So, and founder all the time is busy, and the design team just waiting for it, starting to create another project, and then forgot about the clients who is creating some or collected the content. And then when he come back, or she, the design team is already not so motivated to finalize it. So it's everything in your hands and in your mind. So like a founder, try to as quickly you reject and as quickly you give feedback to everything, as quickly the work gonna be done, because design projects really stretch and so for some long time. Cool ideas hard to implement, yes, know it, and it's especially about offline and about digital also, but about offline is more troubles, because clients try to give more adjustments. Let's make something creative, let's make something unusual, and then when you and designers come to calculate the price of the implementation right now at the same time, and after the design is approved, the client or design team go to the producers who created the final result, and everyone understand that it's too expensive, or it's just unrealistic, and we can't make it, for example, in our city or in our state. So know it, that something could not be realized. And ask about the designers, especially the young designers could offer to you some ideas that is just unrealistic. Don't use the same templates all the time. If your design team make for you some templates and you use it all the time, your Instagram, your communication become boring. Of course, you should be changeable, and even in one system, there could be so many variants of different design. Duplication killed life inside the brand, and always everyone inside get bored about it and don't do it. And the last thing that I share with you is how to maintain and develop brand visual. The mistake to hire a very expensive agency and then to work with very cheap to maintain it. It sometimes happened. You hire really expensive $1,000 branding and then nobody maintain it. The brand book will not help you, especially detailed written brand book. The designers, no rules will help. Whether you feel or not, just it help. We have the experience. One of the company that we created woke up. They've got it's like noodle delivery, and we created for them brand book, describe everything. It was so long and so big. I was like a designer, was really exhausted about it. After they decided our agency was too expensive, they tried to find another one. And each time when they come to some designers or agencies, it was maybe 3, 4, 5, and nobody catch the mood. Nobody can continue this beauty of the brand that we created. And I advise you not to keep in touch with your design team that created branding for you, because they know how to continue to work with it. They have the ideas how to implement it, and they have ideas how to work inside this system, how not to be boring and how to make it more interesting in the future. Talk about subscription. And one of the things why design teams very expensive and don't want to work with subscription is because the companies just throw the tasks into the design team, and they have another project, and maintenance needs to the manager who will collect all these tasks and then give to designer, and then designers make it, our director check it, then managers see that it's not right text and then give to them, present it to the client. And it's just so crazy and dull chain that the one business cards you could do for months. And it's not just with design, it's also with programming, with everything. If you work with the team who already create the design and can afford, like not afford, just be in charge of continue to work with you, better things is gonna be to make a pack each month, make a pack of tasks. If you a good manager, like a founder, good manager, you will make it. Sometimes founders are very chaotic and they just running somewhere, take and decide 10 tasks in 1 minute. For designers, it will be hard. So give the pack of ideas of your tasks. And in the same time, you could ask for a lower price, because this will take much less energy of design team, because already everyone knows how to how to cope with this branding. Everyone knows the rules. And as I mentioned, that a good design system is a good the tool of making decision. You will less discuss and will be less adjustments. Adjustments will be just in a text or in like text or visuals. So less talking, more working. In this part, I advise for founders and owners to structure their work with designers. It's the same thing with art director. To hire art director, for example, you don't need the whole team. You need just one person who's gonna be in charge, and they've got some juniors who will help to maintain, but the one person who will be in charge of your branding. They will be more in charge with your brand and try to make it better than like in big agency when everything blurry and nobody know what to make with this brand and so on. And one of the advice, don't hire a junior or designer into your team inside an office because this designer will just struggle with the world because there is no strong designer or art director is nearby, and in some time you will feel that all the designs similar. Maybe if you hire a very talented person, it could be, or freelance designer who has many projects and grown as a person, as a designer. So it could be, but it's more already like an art director. In small companies, everything goes from a founder. He or she is the main force that moves the company forward. If something that is not going with the founder's minds, and if the founder approves the design that he doesn't like or shame for it, it will not work because the tone of voice of the founder is totally aligned into their brand. I'm of course talking about small brands, startups. If we talk about more about bigger companies, the rules is changed. But in small businesses, I advise founders to create more skills and become more patience and have more patience and don't think that somebody will make for you design or strategy. You could hire a very talented person, and one of the things that will help you, but you should be this talented person too. And create brands with all your love and passion. If you don't love your like son or daughter, it will not be so crazy and extraordinary as we talk about. So, and that's all. Thanks for watching. If you have some ideas, just write to Orchidea. Thank you very much.
It's cool. I really loved the parts about how to become extraordinary. Very cool tip. Let's see what questions we have from the audience and start our Q&A session, okay?
Yep.
So the first question is, are visuals gonna be available after the stream? Do you have your presentation somewhere?
Yeah, yes, sure. This presentation gonna be open to everyone. You could go through with it and look all the information.
Cool. I think we can share it below the video.
Yep.
The next one is how to create an accurate mission for tech startups.
Tech startup?
Uh-huh.
First of all, you should understand your audience, but maybe for first thing that you should understand, it's to make a good idea. I don't know what exactly you mean tech startup about what is gonna be, but you should create your idea, little bit check it, and maybe make some MVP, make different MVPs like with different ideas. Then the thing with the audience, maybe you, if you have the really crazy idea, maybe you don't need to make a focus group and check with them, because people in most cases accustomed to something that they already saw, and that's why if you have idea that have never been seen to somebody, and you really believe in this idea, you should go with it. And with about what was the question about social mission, or what to create
An accurate mission.
accurate mission? You mean accurate mission as
Like concrete.
yeah, I understand. I'm just thinking about whether it should be a positioning or it should be like a mission of the like heart. I think that the mission is the thing that in what the founder is really believe, because if you starting, as I'm already told, if you're starting to create something like to sit at the table, take the white paper and start to write down what is going to be the mission. And this mission of the founder is based on his or her background and understanding on the world. And best thing that you can make is to make a big research of the world of today. And you will understand what the thing should be based in your manifesto, mission, and so on.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so the next one is there any courses that you can recommend in brand management?
I recommend to read a lot Medium, to look through the articles, to read books of the founders, to read the articles of the founders. I'm listening some podcasts of the when the founders share, especially very good when you listen to people who just young and no, not young, they, for example, their business are young, for example 5 years or 3 years, and how they cope with all the stuff. Because when the companies are big and everyone start to read some books about Jack Trout, about positioning, and in these books all the stuff is very old. And don't read all the books, because they will not give you any fresh ideas. It's gonna be just bookworms ideas, I don't know. So follow, and also the other thing, follow people who who you are fond of. Maybe some businesses who you really liked and you see how they developing. Follow them in Twitter, Instagram, everywhere, and you feel and you will understand why they make such a decision, and maybe it will be more realistic than some book things. You know, I just think that some courses and books will give you some ideas, but will never give you the real experience. So follow for the people and read articles and podcasts.
That's a good one. But you said you listen to podcasts. What kind of? Like which?
I will add maybe to our group or meeting some
Uh-huh.
links, because right now I can't remember the names. in
Okay.
podcast of iPhone, you could find like branding, and there's too much references to different of them.
Okay, so let's leave some sources in the event page.
Yep.
And we have 3 more questions. So the next one is, what are your must follow channels for trend watching? But it kind of overlaps, I think.
For trends, yeah, there are some. You should follow some trends. Future Laboratory, I really like. They make too many content, and I follow them and read all the time. They created some strategic. Like each year they make strategic presentation about in what different industries what will happen, what happened and what will happen. It's one of my favorites, but I can also add some of strategic things into our meeting.
Okay. And
But I could advise also to read, like, for example, Business Insider, and to look for the articles in the media. VCRU also, they give so much content from a people to people that you will never find in some I don't know. There are some companies that strategic companies that will never tell you the information for free. They will sell you the articles and researchers to you for money. It's worth to buy. We sometimes buy for some brands.
but if we
So
talk about like branding and marketing, do you have some cool sources for that?
for branding and for strategy, for less for marketing, like marketing, like
Okay, let's
for
start them later.
communication. Okay.
So the last one is, how about use of innovative approach in conservative industries, like agriculture, for example?
Everything changed, and in such boring and conservative industries too. They try to spend less money, and of course, they try to minimize their business plans. So you, as if you're a designer or if you're a design team, you could offer some variants how to make for them like new ideas. And these boring and conservative industries become more conservative because so much more people who come to these companies and become as the chief directors, and even there it's become more easier to show some interesting design and interesting ideas. Can you repeat one more time question?
Yeah, how about use of innovative approach in
User innovative approach.
Yeah.
It's, I think they thought about to present the ideas to the clients, or to work with them, or to work with
I think in like presenting the idea.
One of the things I'm doing right now to share the presentation of the advices to all the people, all the founders, to educate them and maybe some of them, and as I told, that more people become more modern as due to everyone have their smartphone with all the information, and there is not so conservative. I think everyone today not so conservative.
Okay, it makes sense. Okay, no more questions.
Okay, well done.
Yeah, well done. Great done. Thank you a lot, Lera. And guys, please stay tuned. So we will share some answers to your questions in the event page, some sources and recommendations. I think now it's time to say see you next time.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope it was useful for you, this presentation, and you could look at one more time and look through the presentation. Thank you very much.
Heart is amazing.
Bye.